Welcome to the Slamming Door Sessions, a reality creation podcast where we slam the door to anything that is not our ideal. With your amazing hosts, Kristen M.F. Clark and authentic Cintia Serravalle. Join us in a radical embodiment of our ideal states. Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of the Slamming Door Sessions podcast. My name is Cintia. My state currently is authentic Cintia, and I'm here with a wonderful Kristen M.F. Clark. Thank you for being here with us today, and welcome back if you have been with us before. Thank you so much for your support. And we have a very interesting, very interesting podcast today that I don't even know what's going to be about, but I know that it was amazing as usual. So,
Perfect.
Kristen.
You know, before we started this, Cynthia and I we always do this. We chat a little bit before we start the podcast. And of course, everything coming out of her was such gold that I was like going, we need to start the recording right now, because we both were talking about how you'll be reading about something, or and you could be reading a whole book on spirituality or whatever, and one section will catch your attention and it'll like spark you up and you're like, ooh, and then all of a sudden here comes from another direction a program or a meme or a magazine article or something about that exact thing that caught your attention. And and I was telling her that a lot of times I'll wake up in the morning and I'm just sitting there and something stirs up, something I haven't thought about in a long time. Like maybe a lot of times I call things echoes. Echoes are, just versions of you that come back around, and they can't hurt you. They're just echoes. But anyway, and I'll be thinking about that, and Facebook will pull up a memory from a year ago or 5 years ago, and it'll be an entire article I wrote or something about echoes. And I'm just like on, is this it, on this day 3 years ago? I was thinking about echoes, and this morning that pops up, and it's like going, is that amazing? It's kind of like the chicken or the egg. Which one came first? The memory, the I was thinking that this morning, so I manifested a quote unquote memory, or what? It's so fun. But I love what you were talking about. So go back to what you were talking about.
Yeah, so what I was telling Kristen is that lately I've been thinking about manifesting physical changes and like the subject in general, maybe things that I would like to do, but the subject of manifesting physical changes in general. And so I started reading this book that I mentioned before, Metahuman by Deepak Chopra. And so I started it. I think I only read like couple of pages, and then I was doing other things, and then I kept reading, and I had already thought about the physical changes. And all of a sudden in the book that he starts talking about how the body, or the image that we have about our body, and the body itself is just part of the illusion that we live in, and it's a mind construct, right? And so that was interesting. I was like, oh look, like what I was thinking about the other day, that's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to keep reading about it. And I know that he will move to other subjects, but it's such an interesting thing that the first example that he uses is exactly the thing that I was thinking about. And then this weekend, so we're Wednesday, so over the weekend I was just still thinking about it, and all of a sudden this program shows up, like this it was an ad for a program of this guy from Spain. I don't remember his name right now. He has a program dedicated to teaching anti-aging, from like how aging is actually a consequence of your beliefs, and how you can change your beliefs for anti-aging. And it's, for me, it's the first time that I see someone dedicating a whole program to anti-aging from this perspective of aging being a consequence of your beliefs. And I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. So I bought it and I'm reading it. And I started reading today. And all of a sudden I start seeing that what he says is pretty much the same thing that Deepak Chopra is saying in this other book. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that I become interested in something and I want to learn about something. And all of a sudden I give myself this information through these things that, oh, I start reading a book that has nothing to do. Like, I don't even know what the book was about, MetaHuman, when I started reading. And I started because someone quoted something and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. So I started reading it, and all of a sudden he starts with this example, and then this guy comes up with this new program, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I feel like, I'm giving myself this information that I was thinking about, that I wanted to learn more about from these different avenues. And I am so, so happy, and so happy reading about it. But yeah, I don't know why we were doing
I think isn't it amazing how you're just instantly manifesting what lit you up? It's of no consequence to your existence or anything like that. It was just something exciting and something that perked your interest. And the minute you're reading MetaHuman, you didn't even expect this subject to be in there, but it is, and you're like, ooh, and then all of a sudden here comes all these other sources of such a fantastic subject. And and it's funny because I know whoever's listening to us is now thinking of examples of other authors or famous speakers who have talked about this. And it's amazing how we do that, how our mind immediately comes up with memories. And for those of you guys that are on the podcast, I just did air quotes for memories. Memories, always, all memories are thoughts that support your current state of being. That's it. That's all memories are. We will say, oh no, I experienced this. I saw this. I felt this. I had this mood at one point. I went through this at one point. But you have no way of proving that. You have absolutely zero way of proving it other than this thing you're calling a memory. And it's amazing how we will manifest so much to concrete those memories. Another person will manifest another person called a brother or a sister or a mother or a father or whatever to say, oh yes, I was there and I experienced that with you. And now, we're just going, we're just weaving our magic like crazy. But I'm getting way off topic.
Something before we start with the actual topic of today's podcast that I want to say is that it's so interesting because for me, I was thinking about physical changes when I started thinking about it and considering like, oh, but it's kind of hard, like I was coming from that belief, and I was like, no, I don't like that. So by not accepting that, now I'm just giving myself all these examples of people saying like, it's so easy, like it's just your beliefs, change your appearance. And they give me all these examples of people changing their appearances like drastical ways. And I just love it because I am giving myself this information so that I am the person who knows that making those things is easy, because that is the person that I decided that I want to be, So it's just like, no, I don't like thinking that it's hard. I don't like thinking that it's like, because it isn't, it's like manifesting anything else. So I was like, no, I'm going to choose not to believe that it's hard. And all of a sudden, all these things is like, look, it's easy, and I love it.
It is, how cool. There's the Headless Way. I always bring that one up. And they talk about how if you're not looking at a reflective surface like me, I can see myself on here. You can't see yourself. you have no way of knowing what your image is. You can't see your face. I can kind of, like, if I'm looking away from the screen, I can kind of see my nose, kind of, but it's blurry. You cannot see your face. And the only way you know what you look like is by looking in a reflective surface. And in that instant, before you look into the reflective surface, you come up with, I am female, I am blonde, I have green eyes, I have this and this and this and this. And poof, there you are. There's the proof and the poof. And isn't that fascinating to be able to go, oh, I can change it. I can play in changing this.
And now that I remember, one of the reasons why I started thinking about this subject is because I was reading this other book that I mentioned before. That was Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And one of the things that they say that they do is basically creating other bodies that they put in places. Like they leave one of their bodies in this place to protect a village or something, because they are so respected by animals and other beings or whatever, that no one dares to do anything bad when they are around. So when they, or this version of them, is not around, they create another body of theirs and they leave it in the place to protection. And I was like, these people over here creating new bodies, like, are you telling me that we have to believe that we age? Like, what?
Yeah, no. And I remember when I was reading that book, I think one of the guy, like the main guide in the beginning, was like 500 years old or something like that. And yeah, he'd astral project out of this body, and he wouldn't worry about that body. He knew it was perfectly safe where it was laying in the forest with, without his consciousness in it. And he would go, over here, and he would meet up with this group that left 2 weeks before, and they would be like, how did you beat us here? And he's just like, I'm not really here, or I am, or whatever. It's so fascinating. And I'm going to tell you, I went for a hike with a girlfriend of mine, and she was just really bombarding me with questions about, well, what do you think about manifestation? What do you think of law of attraction? Because this is all new to her. And it was so funny, because there was this part of me that was like, I can't answer. It wasn't that I can't answer. It was just like, I don't want to answer. I'm not interested in what you're saying. I'm just interested in life, in where I'm at in this moment right now, which is hiking in this beautiful view and this amazing weather and the animals. I mean, we had the most interesting start of our hike. We saw, she goes, is that a rabbit? And I'm looking off in the distance, and there's this enormous beast with huge ears. And I'm like going, that looks like a jackrabbit, but I've never, ever, ever seen one. I mean, it was like the size of a dog. And I'm like, that can't be right. It must be a piece of wood in the shape of a rabbit, because there's no way that's real. And she's like got her phone out, we're looking at it, and I'm like, I'm walking over there because this is not real. And she goes, its ear moved. And I'm like, no, it didn't, you're imagining it. And we're just playing this whole game, and it was real. And as I started walking towards it, it hopped off, and I went, holy cow, that's just unreal to see a jackrabbit that big. Number one, I've never seen jackrabbit around here ever. Number two, it was enormous. Anyway, but and then we're hiking, and she goes, what's that sound? And I'm like, it's cicadas, and it's this type of insect that only hatches out like once every, I know there's certain ones that it's only once every 17 years or whatever. Here, I have no idea. And I never even knew they were around here. And I'm like, those are cicadas. And all of a sudden we found this tree, and it was almost like it was decorated with all these little cicadas. Are this insect that'll climb up the tree, attach to a branch, and then shed its skin so it can get bigger and have wings now, just like a caterpillar and a butterfly. And this tree was decorated with all these little carcasses, all these little skins. And it was just so, that was interesting to me. That was amazing to me. And she wanted to ask all these questions of stuff that I was like going, I really am not interested in what it is which is weird, because I can distinctly remember wanting somebody to ask me those questions so I could just teach them the right way to think, And now it's like, it was just weird. It was so weird to be in a space where I was like, that's not me anymore. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that until she was asking that. And it's like you said, I don't even know what the point I'm trying to get here is other than we really do shift selves we think we know who we are. And then all of a sudden there's this enormous shift and you're going, I don't recognize myself. I don't know who I am. And it's discerning, but it's exciting because it's wide open to all the different ways you get to be, all the new exciting, and I remember I started out this year with this. I was saying at the end of March, I didn't want to recognize myself. And then we started over again, right? We're in the second quarter. And I was saying, come June, July, I don't want to recognize myself again. And here, it's amazing what we can do. And I'm very excited about the subject of the body, what we can do, how we can change our appearance and how we do.
Yeah. And I'm feeling like I'm coming at this from this space of play, like when I was reading about this guy leaving a body here, another body there, and creating new bodies, I was like, wait, wow, like all the implications, whether you believe that he does that or you don't, doesn't matter. But the fact is that if you believe in manifestation, if you believe in the love assumption, if you believe that we're consciousness, if you believe in those things, then why wouldn't be able to do that? But wouldn't be able to do it? And so is this idea of, okay, let's play, and all of a sudden, so that book kind of started me thinking about playing and seeing, okay, what are we not able to do, but what am I going to do about it, basically? Because it's not that we're able or not able. Even if I want to do something that it's never been heard before, doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means that I might be the first one to do it. It's just that. And so I was thinking, oh, this is so interesting. Like, I want to play with it. And then the Deepak Chopra book showed up, and then this course, this program showed up, and I'm just, I don't know, I'm immersed in this, and I'm just thinking about it, and I'm excited about it. So I'm just going to play with it. That's basically it.
Yeah, I love it. You're like, I want to play with that, and poof.
Yeah.
Proof is in the poof. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it wonderful? And I really, if I go in my memories back through my whole life, that has been the theme, one after another. I wanted to get into clairvoyance. Poof. I wanted to get into animal communication. Poof. All of a sudden I manifest. And there it is. There's the proof of manifestation. You think about something and then, oh, God, I was just thinking about that today. And look, it showed up. Yeah. That's why I always say instant manifest, the belief that your manifestations aren't instant is just preposterous. It's ridiculous. It happens and it happens so easily and so normally that we miss it. We're so busy looking for something that's already there that is just so normal that we miss it. We're like, oh, no, it can't be that easy. Yeah. It is. So what Cynthia and I were talking about doing for today is I have received, well, just like my friend when we were hiking, I've received questions that I found very interesting. And some of these questions, here's those air quotes again, I had to turn into a question because they may have been more of a comment. And but I think the one I want to start with is this, because I think everybody can relate here. A friend of mine was saying she's getting frustrated because her big desires, her big manifestations, the one, here's the button in the castle, the one that she really, really, really wants is not happening. And she wants to know, what is she doing wrong? So I'm going to pose that to you and let you go at that how you want.
Oh my God. First of all, thank you to your friend for sharing her, her experience with us. And yeah, the big, oh my God.
There's the big.
Yeah. The big. I think that first of all, the label big is like one of the things that can make us think that somehow we need it, or that, like we are lacking something important in our lives. So I think that already that label is interesting. And I guess that when she's saying the big one, it means that she's manifesting other things, like she's aware that she's manifesting other things. And is she manifesting consciously, or how does that work?
Yeah. I know it's hard to answer a question when you don't have a person here to clarify things.
Yeah, but I think that first of all, the focus on this being big, and second, the belief that she's doing something wrong, are like the things that are like calling me in terms of what she said. So yeah, I think that she's not doing anything wrong, and just recognizing that she's not doing anything wrong would be like the first step, like she's not doing anything wrong and she can't do anything wrong. And yeah, just becoming aware of that. And maybe, I think we were talking about it, or was I just thinking about it? But
yeah,
I think I posted something on my Instagram that was about getting the satisfaction from within. Yeah. I think it's my last post on Instagram. And I was I love the things that I post on Instagram, because when I posted get the satisfaction from within, it's because I was actually, just before I posted it, kind of meditating, telling that to myself. And it was funny, right? Because something happened that, or I was kind of expecting something to happen in the physical world, right? And it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden I felt this feeling, or I just realized, I became aware that I was expecting the physical world to give me a satisfaction that I was craving. And so I was like, wait a minute, I don't like this feeling, first of all, so if I don't like it, I don't need to continue feeling it. So I relaxed, closed my eyes, took a few deep breaths, and then I imagined what I wanted to happen, because I wanted to feel the feeling of satisfaction. So I went to imagination to feel it, right? And then I said to myself, get the satisfaction from within. It just came into my mind like a message to myself. And I was like, ooh, I need to share that. So I posted it on Instagram. But it was so amazing to realize the contrast of me wanting something to happen to feel satisfied versus me feeling satisfied only because I went within and I give myself that experience. And just the contrast right then and there of those two situations. So I think that whenever we label something as big, is because we are expecting some kind of satisfaction from the physical world. And the big means that we believe that we are lacking something important, like we are lacking something that makes us feel or either valued, or, that is going to add something that we currently don't have. And I think that that is a lie, because we have it all right now. So I think that the only thing that needs to happen is just to change the perspective, like the realization of the perfection that she already is. So she's not doing anything wrong. And the realization that what she's craving is not for something to happen on the exterior, but she's kind of craving for her to change the image that she has of herself.
Yes. Ooh. And look what we started with, that subject about changing the image of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were so right on track about that feeling of satisfaction, because you get down to the base of, well, what is it you want to feel here? And it's like, I mean, what this big thing you're trying to manifest, what would it create in you? What feeling, what, sensation, what sense of security, whatever is this? And usually it's a sense of security. And like you said, you find that within, you find it. You can just imagine the situation happening, and you can just go there and play in your imagination and feel it for the split second. But it's interesting when these kind of questions come up, because it's just like that situation of you going, oh, what I want this, it's not here. How do I get it? All these things that seem to be happening and seem to be taking up your entire day aren't. It's just a blip. It's the tiniest blip of your existence. And in your existence, you've got shoes on your feet, you've got feet, you've got roof over your head, you got walls, you got bed, you got all this stuff happening all around you constantly. You're constantly manifesting the water you're drinking, the coffee, the phone, the whatever you're listening to us on. You're doing so much all the time. And whatever you're thinking about right now feels like it is your whole world. It's like, oh, this podcast just feels like it's a huge aspect of my life right now, but it's not. It's the tiniest blip of today, and so many other things are going to happen today. And it really, I don't even know what it is I'm trying to say here, other than I just always, when I do, because I have the same situation where I'm like, oh, I wanted to have, I don't know, my own house. I want to have my own house, a house that's under my name. And this is a good subject for both of us. That's mine. That's, a place of, and again, here's a place of security where I can have all my stuff, and I can feel like I don't have to find another place to stay because the owners are, that feels like that's a huge part of my world right now, is that I don't have my own house. And here I am at this age, and I can make a big deal about it. I can make it big, or I can just go, I am so blessed right now. I'm so outrageously blessed. All this amazing stuff I have. And I wanted to have a podcast with somebody just like you. And poof, there it is. It's always, there's so much poof happening around us that when you switch your attention to the poofs, like I said, your feet, the roof, the couch behind me, the beautiful sun coming up. I mean, now that's a big poof. The sun coming up, that's a pretty damn big poof. And when you compare and look at all this amazingness around you that you raise that sun, and then you compare this other thing you want to it, it's like, for me, it's like, oh, I am okay. I'm doing amazingly well. I raise a flippin' sun. I woke up this morning and I have 2 feet and 2 hands, and while I can remember a part of me that would be like, yeah, I know, but I want that $1 billion. I want it. You have it. You have it. You are it. It's funny. I don't know. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I think that basically what you're saying is pretty much having a change in perspective.
Yeah.
It's going from lack. So basically is this feeling of lack, something big is missing from my life. Like, how can I change that feeling into something else? And one of the things is what I mentioned: go within and give that to yourself so that you can feel the satisfaction now, regardless of what's happening in the physical world. And now the other thing that you are sharing is a different kind of change into perspective, which is change the perspective from lack into abundance and recognize the abundance that it's already in your life, because that is going to also move you from lack into abundance, basically into lack, from lack into, oh, look at all the things that I have, look at all the things that I've already manifested. If she's already consciously manifesting, recognizing all the things that she's already done, recognizing all the things that she manifests every day, it's like this confidence boost of, oh, look, I manifest, I choose, I decide. So it's always moving from lack into the abundance that is already there, either already present in the physical world or in the preview that you have within your imagination, which is the preview of what's going to come in the physical world. But yeah, that experience is just a choice. Like, you can move from lack into abundance because you choose to, by recognizing that it's already there and by giving what you want within before it happens physically. But that is a movement that needs to happen from lack into recognizing the abundance that it's already there, within and without.
Yeah. And this kind of goes into the next question, is about going back to what this whole past month has been. The theme of our podcast is about not responding. And, I find that the more I try to answer a question like this, the more I can't. The more it doesn't quite make sense. It's like we can explain 1,000 different avenues to answer this question, and yet it's never going to give that satisfaction. That's just right here. Yeah, right. It's like we're trying to find the satisfaction of answering this question when that was just the base. It's just like, don't respond. Don't respond to this part of you that's going, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know. I don't respond to that. And just by the simple action of not responding, you just gave your answer. You're just like, of course I understand. Of course I understand. And just leaving it, not even responding as far as that.
And so I was just thinking about something, I believe that I was reading in the MetaHuman book. He was giving these examples of these people that were in physical pain, like very, very painful experiences, and that somehow had this spontaneous experience of mental peace, and that they were so amazed of, oh my God, how can I be in peace when at the same time I have all this pain in my body? And that is another example of how what's happening in the outside does not need to define the experience that you're having within, like how you are feeling, because to this person, we can say a million different things and be discussing this subject for years. But until she decides to give herself the satisfaction, until she decides to feel that, nothing's gonna change. Like I'm not gonna go like here and say, here, the satisfaction, she needs to feel that for herself, because she needs to give that to herself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, again, for me, it's always about going back to that simplicity, just the simplicity, it's, and it's so funny. I love when you're saying you're reading this book, and I'm like going, and in that moment, you're manifesting all of that. You're manifesting exactly what you wanted to read, and it's there. Poof, 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 poof.
Yeah.
But again, I love the simplicity within not responding. And then I also love what arises, the amazingness that arises from the non-response. So that is one of the questions. It's do you think not responding helps you get to your desires quicker? And can you give more examples of not responding? I just did. Do you think not responding helps you to get to your desires quicker? Right now, I am playing with that. Yes. I know there's going to come a time where it's going to get even easier than that. But my desire was to find a shortcut, to find more and more shortcuts. And this arose. This came up, and it came up through Cynthia, not responding, and her story about having the baby with the horrible ear pain. And man, could you have drawn that out? Go to the doctor and get drops and and this is a problem she's had her whole life because of this, and it's common childhood. It could have been a whole huge, enormous thing. But instead, you chose not to respond. You chose to go, what would I be doing if she was fine? And boom. And I had the same situation happen where somebody had reached out to me, and it was this common every week theme of, this isn't happening for me. I'm doing all this effort, and the results I want are not happening. And last night I received again the exact same message, and I was like, not responding. Went and got in the jacuzzi instead, and went and did this instead. And the funny thing is the commentary of this person ceased. It stopped. They weren't there anymore. And the next thing that came up was a completely different subject. So I don't know. What do you think? I can ask the question again.
Yeah, please.
Do you think not responding helps you get to your desires quicker? Like manifestations quicker? And can you give more examples?
I mean, honestly, it depends on what each one of us believe. Like, I can believe that it takes me there quicker, so it's going to take me there quicker. But if I believe that it's not going to take me there quicker, then it's not. So
good answer.
Yeah. And there was something else that I wanted to say. I think that when you were answering the previous question about what was the first question about?
The first question was getting frustrated that manifestations were not happening. And I was saying by just not responding.
Yeah, not responding. But that is not responding to what, because it's interesting. There is this example that you just gave about not responding to someone telling you a message that you no longer want to hear anymore. But in this other person, what she wouldn't be responding to is to herself, Yeah. Because and this goes back to practicing self-awareness, what we were discussing before in the previous podcast, is you detach from this version of you that is and you look at it, but you look at it and you can look at it without judgment, like I was saying, like, oh, look at what my human is doing, and like you can laugh at it. So in this case, she wouldn't be responding to this version of herself that feels the lack, right? And you can like go one step away from it and say like, oh, I am the God. I can see myself in this human experience, experiencing lack and wanting something to happen, and then not respond to that. So it's interesting, this difference between not responding to the physical appearances and the physical experience, And the other is to have enough self-awareness to say, look at what I'm doing. Look at how I'm being that I don't like, and then not respond to that. That is an interesting, self-awareness exercise. So yeah, I think that just having self-awareness it's not only the practice of not responding that you can say it's going to take you to your desires faster, because you can believe not responding is going to take you faster or not. Yeah. But just the practice of the self-awareness that allows you to not respond to yourself, that self-awareness, I do believe that it can take you to things faster, because it's just recognizing what you're doing, how you're feeling. And actually the self-awareness allows you to exercise your free will, if you will, to exercise your choice, your power of choosing. Because if you're being then, well, you're probably going to manifest more. But if you have the self-awareness to say, oh, look what I'm doing, I'm going to choose something else. Yeah. Just the practice of the self-awareness allows you to choose. And when you choose something else, then you manifest something else. So I do see that practicing self-awareness can help you to manifest something new faster. That if you don't practice it and you keep being the same version of yourself that you don't want to be anymore. Yeah.
I love that. And I think it has also to do with, my seeing these people as how they want to see themselves, right? So there's this one person that wants to manifest, let's say winning the lottery. So the only way I can serve her is me seeing her as that satisfied, excited, I love my life, and that is, and again, that goes back to a subject we've talked about before. That's the greatest gift we can give anybody in our life, is to see them so happy, so joyful, just absolutely loving their life, that these kind of questions don't need to arise. And for me, I love what you were saying about having that self-awareness, and being willing to go, yeah, I'm not available for that anymore. I'm not available for that outfit, that state of being. Yeah, that's not who I am.
I love the tone in which you said that, because it's not available for that. There is no drama. There is no pain. There is no fighting. There is no suffering. There is no effort. It's just like, no, thank you. It's just so easy,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Oh, I agree. That was wonderful. Yeah. And it was funny because earlier you were saying talking about something, and that came up in my mind too, was like, it's just the lack of effort. Yeah. There's no effort. You're not pushing against, you're not trying to shut something down. You're just, nah. I'm giving that to the Goodwill. They can have that outfit. I'm not wearing that anymore. All right. So we had another one. It's funny how all these are so related, of course. Okay. So I have a statement where I used to say, and it's an Abdullah one, where it says, you don't ask how when you're already there, right? You don't ask how when you're already there. And this person said, this feels like such deep truth. Can you go more into it?
Sure.
Go, girl, go.
It's funny because I was reading, I seem to be reading a lot of books. I was reading another book from one of Neville's students. Oh my God, what's her name? I posted things from her on my Instagram. And one of the things that I posted actually is that quote. I didn't know that it came from Abdullah, but she says the same thing. And it's like, if you already feel that your desire has been fulfilled, then it follows that you are not wondering how it's going to happen.
Exactly.
Like you cannot.
Yeah.
It's either it has already happened or it hasn't, and that is so interesting, because it's like you have to face yourself and say, oh my God, I'm not actually in the state of the wish fulfilled,
Yeah.
because you're wondering about the how it's going to happen, how's it going to happen. And the thing is, at least from Neville, it's like, well, go into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, feel that it has already happened, and then it's going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such an interesting topic.
It's a huge topic. It's a wonderful topic. And again, we're back in ease, right? Yeah. Why would I even discuss this if I'm already there? Why would I even talk about this? Why would I read that book? Why would I do any of these things if I'm already there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, so it's like, at least I see it in these 3 stages. Like the state, you get the desire, and then the next stage is like Neville says, surrender to your fulfilled desire. It's like you have the desire, and then you can go to, feels so nice that this happened, like you accept the gift, like you accept the gift of that desire as already fulfilled, and you actually feel the satisfaction. But for some reason, sometimes instead of feeling that satisfaction, we go into the other, like, how is it going to happen,
Yeah.
And then to get out of that state, we have all the tools, because you don't need to use the tools in order to get to the state of the wish fulfilled. But if you need them, then use them, and they work. But then you start practicing the tools, to get into the state of the wish fulfilled, like practicing imagining things, or isn't it wonderful, or I remember when, or in inner conversations, and all these things, to put yourself in the steps, in the shoes of the person who already has that thing. And if you keep doing that, eventually you get to what Neville calls the Sabbath. I don't know how you pronounce that in English. The Sabbath. Well, okay. Sabbath. Okay.
The Sabbath.
It's that moment when you stop working, you stop doing the work, and you relax, because you actually feel that you already have it. That is the moment when you stop doing all the tools and all the practices, because you actually start to feel natural that it's already happened. And then you're not thinking like, oh, when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? I need to affirm. I need to do my affirmations. I need to do all these things. You naturally feel satisfied, and then you stop doing the things.
I tell you, it's like when I receive a text of a job offer or something that surprises me. There was no effort in that. There was no trying to have that happen. There was no using any tools. It just popped up, and it was like, oh, and in that moment of going, oh, this is exciting, I'm going to respond. There's no effort of anything. I'm just in this flow state of just responding to it. And now all of a sudden, so last night I was watching America's Got Talent, and there's this, I guess during commercials, they'll ask audience members if they want to sing. And there's this young girl who's like, yeah, I'll sing. And she just starts belting out. And she was so amazing that all the judges who pay no attention during the commercials, do all this stuff, all stopped what they were doing. And even Simon Cowell, who was in the back, comes running out from the back and goes, who was that? And so all of a sudden they're taking this young girl out of the audience, putting her up on the stage, which is something they don't do. And they're like, go ahead and sing, go ahead and do it. And they decide to go against, I know, I'll put the link to that in here. And they're just like, go ahead and sing. And so she sings Amazing Grace, and she sings one section of it, and Simon Cowell's like, keep going. And long story short, she ends up getting the golden buzzer. She wasn't even supposed to be up on the stage. She wasn't she had been trying, but her father just takes, if you live in Pasadena here in California, you can go watch America's Got Talent all the time. You just buy the tickets and go. You can be in the audience all the time. And her father was always taking her to it. because that's what she wanted to do, is watch. And she was like, someday I'm going to be up on the stage, someday. And, she was just herself. She was in that flow in that moment. She wasn't sitting there going, okay, I manifested, I focused right. Okay, I did my meditations this morning, so it's going to happen. She just was in the flow, in the joy. And it's like, boom, 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 this is happening. These people are picking you and they're getting you up on the stage. And oh my God, Simon Cowell is paying attention to you. And now you got the golden buzzer. And I mean, she's 11 years old. She's this little thing. You should hear her sing. And it just, there's that in that moment that she's singing and all these people start paying attention and all these people are cheering for her and all this, there's no stopping and thinking. It's just happening, right? It's like when you wake up in the morning, it's just happening. You didn't do anything to make yourself wake up. It's just happening. It's this natural happening. And this is where, I'm like, this whole thinking about, I've got to stop and manifest. I've got to do these tools. I've got to use these processes to manifest, to do it. That's where I'm like going, wait a minute. What did you do to wake up this morning? What manifestation process did you do to wake up this morning? Not a damn thing. Can we just go to that? Let's just go to that. And yeah, it happens and it's there and I love it. And yeah, I got to show you that link because it's just so wonderful to watch.
Yeah, beautiful.
And of course, you're going to cry your eyes out. And I don't know if they staged this. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It is wonderful because, of course, her father who takes her there has stage 4 cancer. And they said, if you won $1 million, what would you do? And she's like, I would help with cancer research for my father. That's when I start rolling my eyes and going, okay. But, maybe not. Maybe it was just, this is just so wonderful and heartwarming and, exciting to see. But, for me, I was just like going, oh, I've had those moments where the things are just flowing. And it's just happening. And where I'm at right now is one of these things, right? And then there's those moments where something not wanted arises. And yeah, you can use your tools. Absolutely. Because they're there and because you just manifested them and because you're that amazing. Or you can just go, doesn't matter either way. I can't be less of a God. So it's all good. It's always going to work out. It's always going to blow me away.
Yeah. And just to be clear, nothing wrong if you're using the tools. Like there's no shame. And again, going back to what am I doing wrong? It's not because you're using tools that you're not somehow like, oh my God, I didn't go into the state of the wishful feel like automatically. And I needed to, I don't know, meditate. So I'm suck at manifestation. Like, no, it's like, fine, everything you're doing is fine. And naturally, I think the more let's say you're using the tools every day and then you start manifesting what you want, naturally you're going to realize like, oh, I do it because of who I am, not because of the tools that I'm using. So the more you do it, the less tools you're going to believe that you need. And then you're going to start, flowing and going into it like right away and all of that. And then if you ever need to go back to using tools, then go back. There's no shame. There's nothing right or wrong. It's just like, do whatever works for you. But I think in the end, I don't know if the most important thing, but at least to me, the most important thing is just realizing who you are, becoming aware of it, and then going into what is beyond manifesting the money, manifesting the body, manifesting the relationship. It's just after that, or maybe before or in the middle, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But you will come to the realization of, wait a minute, manifesting is great, but actually realizing that I am God, that I am unconditional love, that I am one with the trees and the birds, that I am one with you, and like all of these is like the wow, like another gift on top of all these manifestations. So Yeah, chill.
Yeah. For me, the whole what am I doing wrong is the fact that you think you can do something wrong. Again, there's that I'm not available for that. And the whole not responding is so deep within that. I love it. I love the option. I love that option to be able to go, no, I'm not available for that. I love that. I just so adore it.
And sometimes that can even come when you are fed up with something, like it can come like, yeah, I'm not available for that. Or it can come like, we're so fed up and I'm not
angry.
Yeah,
slam the door.
Yeah. When you're so angry and fed up with yourself and your bull, or your BS, that you just say like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, and you make the decision, but it is a decision in whatever like mood that you make it. It's just a decision that I'm not having this anymore.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's powerful, because I've been remembering a time where I did that. I completely shifted my reality out of anger, out of fed upness, out of, and I've told you the story before where I had horrible back problems for a long time, and it just wasn't getting better. And it was just, and then finally one day I was like, this is my fucking reality. I am tired. No more. This is my reality. I do not accept this anymore. And poof, that was it. There was no more. It was gone. But it was, again, it wasn't something I could have forced. I couldn't have been going, okay, this person over here said I got to get mad and say this is my reality, and then that'll fix my problem. It just was something that happened naturally, and it arose out of being fed up and being tired of being in pain, and just going, no. No more. Yeah. And it was just, it was wonderful. It was just so, and I was just, it's so funny that we bring this up, because I was just remembering that this week, where I was like going, this is my reality. Dang it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. So whether it arises from anger or it arises from a state of peace, and I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about these people who, the Buddhist monk who climbs up on top of a, a mountain in Tibet, and they go into the monastery and they're there for 10 years. Are they closer to God than you are? Because you're down here in the trenches and you watch news every day and listening to all the horrible things. And it's just like, which one's more godly? Well, neither one. They're both, they're both just as amazing. They're both gods having fantastic, amazing experiences. You can't be less of a god. You can't be less of a god. You just, those choices, those experiences. Yeah. Woohoo. Well, I know you have to go to the post office. So we will end this. And we love interacting with you guys with your questions or statements or whatever. You can always find us. All our information's in the links below. Don't hesitate to, what's your beliefs in these questions we asked today? What were your thoughts? What were your ideas? We love playing with everybody's fun, interesting, where they're playing right now.
Yes, please do share your questions, experiences, success stories. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, like, and turn on notifications. And thank you so much.
Yay. Take care, guys. See you on the next one.
See you. Bye.